What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we'll be checking out a title called Siege of Dungeon. Not Dungeon Siege, quite the opposite. The siege, it goes in the front, and then you separate it from the back part with an of there in the middle, alright? Let's not get it twisted. But anyways, this is a dungeon crawling RPG with roguelite elements. So there are some carryover things in between runs, but it's mostly like a permadeath turn-based RPG about dungeon crawling and resolving events and things of that nature. I played the game for about an hour prior to the recording of this video, and I feel like I've got a rough idea what my thoughts are about it. However, that's not a huge amount of time, so take anything that I say with a grain of salt. It's just kind of the weakness of the format. I gotta have a new game out every day. There's only so many hours in the day. Try to put as many hours in as I possibly can, so treat this like an impressions video. There may be things that I get wrong along the way. If after watching this, you wanted to get the game for yourself, it is out now, and it has no early access tag on Steam, so I don't know how much post-release support. Actually, it says early access version right there, so I guess the early access tag just hasn't been added to the Steam page. Indeed, I just went back and checked the Steam page just to make sure that my brain wasn't, like, on the fritz on me. And it's not tagged with early access on the Steam page, but I guess it is early access. The game is currently on sale for, I think, $12. And so anyways, Siege of Dungeon. Let's play for about 30 minutes, see if it's something you wanted to add to your wish list or something you wanted to otherwise pass on. If after watching this video, you wanted to get the game for yourself, link down below. And then on top of that, you'll also find a link down there to my Discord and my Twitch stream, just in case you have any questions, thoughts, you want to swing through live and say hello. I haven't been streaming too much lately because Comcast is laying new fiber in my neighborhood, and so unfortunately, normally extra fiber being added means that things flow even easier, but for the last week or so they've been digging trenches in the local neighborhood, and so I haven't really had, my internet goes in and out all day every day. All right, I never know if I'm gonna have internet or not, so that makes me kind of like hesitant to kick off a stream, you know, blow the bugle, light the beacons, everybody settles on in with their popcorn for a good time, and then I'm like, uh-oh, my internet's out. I don't like to disappoint people. So anyways, but I will be back to it pretty soon. Let's start a new game. Alright, so at the beginning of the game, you get to pick some characters that you want to play the game as. Totally up to you. As of right now, there's 4 characters. I'm hoping that this list, actually I'm encouraged now that I know the game is early access. That partially negates some of my thoughts for the end of the video, so I'm gonna have to do this thing on the fly. Imagine that, I'm gonna have to be a professional. Terrifying. Anyways, you can pick between a samurai, an archer, a mage, or a priest. All of these things do exactly what you expect them to do on the tin. The samurai, he beats people's faces in with a katana. The archer, she does exactly what you think she's going to do. She fires pointy sticks at things until they fall over and die bleeding profusely. We've got a mage, she summons fireballs, explosions, death, acid, that kind of stuff. We've also got a priest who is going to be the solitary healer, as far as I know, inside the confines of the game for right now. This time around, I think I'll probably go for the samurai. I will probably go for, I don't know. I haven't tried out the archer, so I guess we'll try her out, and then we'll go for the priest, maybe? That sounds good. I don't know. I'm the kind of person that if there's a healer available, I always take the healer. It's just one of those things where I guess I must just be I must be a conservative player. I must be a very careful player, because I always take a healer. But the priest doesn't just heal, she does have some nukes and stuff too. Hey, there you are, a challenger clueless of true desperation. Pardon my impoliteness, thanks for coming all the way here. You must have a good reason for coming this way. Ooh, your soul. I smell great potential dwelling in there. I'm gonna offer you assistance in this dungeon. I can offer you greater powers in exchange for the souls that you collect on your journey. How far and how deep you can reach within the limited time is entirely up to you. Alright, so we can select our starting bonus. We can get 5 relic fragments. You can use those to assemble relics later on in the game. Powerful relics, like class-changing relics. Basically, there are different types of relics. There's kind of like lesser relics, which are sort of like Binding of Isaac or Undermine or any of those sorts of games, where it'll be like, oh, you know, melee attacks deal +2 damage. When you cast a spell, there's a chance for it to bounce, dealing half damage. Every 5 times you block, you get an extra 3 defense. Stuff like that, but there's also greater relics. That's what you use these relic fragments for, is that if you can get like 20 or 30 relic fragments together, you can do like a super relic that only affects one character, but it kind of beefs them up way out of proportion. Like it basically turns them into your champion. And so anyways, I'll probably go with 5 max HP on everybody. That sounds good. Give us a little bit more of a solid chin. The dungeons are usually guarded by a plethora of creatures led by goblins, although initially weak. I missed it. So at the beginning of the game, you always get to pick a class relic. And so, like, we've got the weighted brace. When the samurai's armor fails, deal damage to a random enemy equal to 50% of the samurai's fallen armor. We can get the Starcatcher's bottle. When picked up, upgrade aimed shot to aimed shot 2, and it applies Hunter's Mark, I guess. Okay. And then over here, increased damage dealt by 5%. Healing is increased by 1 point. Oh, we're actually getting, like, another bonus on top of there, too. Interesting. So anyways, if the priest starts their turn with a holy mark, restore 4 HP of the ally with the lowest HP. That's actually really good. I'm taking the Confessor's Candle. And then we also get to pick a general relic. So we can get the Magic Crystal. Your skill usage during a first turn costs you no MP. That's really powerful. Martyr's Blood. Reduce the damage taken by 1 when you have no armor. And then we can get the Flame Arrow. Normal attacks deal extra damage equal to 2 times the number of burn. So that'd be nice if we actively had a mage here to light things on fire. There are kind of synergies with these relics, and they act as sort of like a building block or like a Lego or like a bridge that allows you to kind of make characters work in cohesion with one another. I do actually like that aspect of it. But I'll probably go with the Magic Crystal because that allows me to nuke like a god on my first turn. So welcome to the dungeon. This is what it looks like. We can't really like pan the camera around as far as I can tell. I wish that, oh, we can. So we can do like edge scrolling, I guess. But WASD does not do that. Now this game has somewhat of a odd movement scheme, and I haven't really been able to derive exactly why it works the way that it works. I'm sure there's a perfectly logical explanation to this, but for whatever reason, your party members move individually, and you keep them inside of a certain radius, and if they run into combat and they end up in a fight, they will assist each other, and all of those characters will be inside of combat. However, if a character gets isolated, they have to fight alone, which is almost assuredly going to end up with them dead. Now, the mechanic of each party member moving individually hasn't really had any greater context as of right now, except for setting up battles. Like, it hasn't mattered really in any events. It hasn't really had any weight or depth to it. Like, you can't really, like, surround enemies in order to get bonuses at the beginning of a fight. And so I'm left kind of scratching my head. I'm hoping that this mechanic is going to be more fleshed out as the early access goes along, because it feels like there's a piece missing here. But every character has a flag over the top of their head. That's how much AP they have to move around the map, and they can move around. There's no like walking animation or anything else like that. I would actually suggest that maybe they get a little bit more mouse control into the game too. It feels kind of odd clicking on portraits and then using WASD to move everybody around. Going RTS with it, where you click on them and then you like right click where you want to go, and then they walk over there through the door, sort of like Dungeon of the Endless style, I think would be a really, really good idea. It would add a little bit more immersion. They would have like a little walking sound effect while they go on over there. As of right now, they just teleport in between rooms. But, you know, I would recommend that maybe they add a walking animation and also get some mouse control up inside of here for people that don't prefer to use WASD to move characters around on the grid. It feels a little stiff right now. There's a wolf inside the next room. Now, every time we mouse over an enemy, it's going to tell us basically the blocks in which characters will jump on into that fight. And as you can see, we are all together right now, which means we will all partake in this particular scrum. It's going to give us a synopsis right here of what we're going to be fighting. It looks like it's 2 wolves versus the trace of us. Let's go ahead and dive on into it. Good thing it told me the battle was starting. I would have never known had they not told me. We've got Charge Shot right here. It does 9 damage with a high probability to critical strike, or we can do 3 damage to everything. Let's go ahead and Charge Shot and see if we can fish out. Hey, there's a crit, and we one-shotted him. Now, the first thing that was very, very stark to me in this game is that the animations for the characters are fairly simplistic. The death animations, the attack animations, they're usually like 1 to 3 frame animations that don't leave a whole lot to the imagination. They're very simple. They're very stiff, but like an area where this game really actually excels is in the realm of spell effects. The spell effects in this game look very, very good. Very high fidelity, very tight, very pretty, very nice to look at. The color palettes have been chosen very, very well. And so while the combat itself is fairly simple, like at the end of the day, it's basically a JRPG. I punch you in the face, you punch me in the face. the spell effects still do actually give you a little bit of eye candy. Now, what exactly are we looking at here? Well, we've got our turn order on the left. We've got what round we're actively engaged in up here. HP and MP over in this side. Fairly self-explanatory stuff. Every character has 2 abilities and then a default attack. We can run away from the fight if we want to, or we can defend, which puts armor on our character. If you've ever seen armor in something like Slay the Spire, that's exactly what it does. Precisely what it does. It just gives you a shield that persists forever, and if something hits you, it deducts from the shield prior to deducting from your HP. One thing that I think they could do, actually, to make the defend option a little bit more consequential is there's no way to tell what an enemy is doing on any given turn. They don't really have implied effects, or they don't really have intents. You can actually open up a unit card for the enemy and see what their abilities are, but for example, I have no idea who this guy is going to attack, and he can attack any one of the 3 of us. Having those intents denoted might not be the worst idea to add a little bit more tactics to the game, because as of right now, you either block with everybody and just hope that you don't get hit. Like, you either block with everybody and skip your turn, or you block with like one person, attack with the other 2, but you don't know that that attack is going to go towards the guy that gets smacked. And so anyways, I do think that there's an ability there to really kind of tie this thing together, especially if they made it such that characters could defend each other, basically. And so you could have a character stand in and block for another character after the intent is told, and then they could also give each other their blocks to kind of stack blocks and whatnot. Might be an interesting way to vary up combat a little bit right there, but I'm not a game designer, so maybe I'll stay out of it. We'll go ahead and sudden slash right there, and this is one of the things I very much like about, oh no, dude, I've been struck in the face. That's okay. I've got free heals that I can throw out. There we go. We'll throw a holy mark on the samurai. And down here, we've got our BP gauge. Now, what is the BP gauge? Basically, it's the burst gauge. All of these skills that these characters have, you can use burst points on them to make them even more rad. And it'll actually, I think it changes up the graphical effect as well. Yeah, it gives you like an extra little spell effect in there that adds on to the other spell effect in order to make it seem like it's something special that you've cracked off. But anyways, adding burst points to an ability makes them hit a lot harder, or heal a lot harder, or shield a lot harder, or poison a lot more aggressively, or it might convert the attack into an AoE. The effects are sort of varied. Currency, we got souls right there. That's basically nickels and dimes. We can spend them at stores, which is how we customize our characters. That's one of those relic fragments that I was talking about at the beginning of the video. And then after every battle, we get some kind of bonus. We can heal everybody for 5 HP. We can give everybody MP back. We can give everybody a temporary AP so that we can move further in the dungeon. This game is on a timer, and so you do need to clear the dungeon before you run out of time. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to test it and figure out exactly what happens when you take too long inside the dungeon, but I assume that it's like nothing good. Let's go ahead and we will move everybody up so that we're all roughly together. There is a group move that you can do called collective action right here, where it will move your characters as a lump sum, in case you were wondering about that. We have 11 hours to clear this dungeon, and so we've used up one of our hours right there. That's basically how many turns you have to muck around in the dungeon. We'll go ahead and move, and we will collectively move down to here. This is an attack shrine. I do wish to use the altar, and so it looks like it gave it to the samurai. I don't know how it decided that, but I would have liked to have seen a little context box pop up right there and be like, who do you want to apply this to? Maybe I just didn't look at it. I'll test it out with the next one. We're still on collective movement right now, so let's just go to the boss room. I will fight the first level is very, very low key. There's not a whole lot going on the first level. You fight like one bad guy, and then you're kind of on your way. I've been poisoned, unfortunately. It stings, it burns, I hate it. Let's go ahead, since we've got free charge shots over here due to our relic, we'll go ahead and launch off a couple of big attacks right here, just to smoosh the enemy a little bit. And then because he got poisoned, we're going to go ahead and throw a blessing on him because it's completely and totally free, so why wouldn't we? This guy's going to... Oh, he smushed my samurai, dude. My samurai just got pancaked. Okay, that throws me off. Let's go ahead and we'll do a normal attack right there to shave off his block. And then with our samurai, we are going to do a boosted sudden slash. There we go. Big time damage. Basically reduced him down to half health. And then over here, we are probably going to want to heal up the samurai one more time. The samurai is getting a stacking buff. each time that we use the heal on him that makes him get healed for more, I think. It looks like increased damage dealt by 10% and healing is increased by 2. Yeah, so it's like a multi-purpose buff that he's got going on right there. As far as skills go, these guys have a lot of armor, and we need to whittle through it, because in just a minute, he's going to do like a fatty AoE that hurts like hell. And so, like, we kind of want to go balls to the wall on this one, using the resources that we have. I did a big smush on the Archeress. Okay. Let's go ahead, and we will fire. I don't think I need... Did he get armor back? He did get some armor back. Okay. Let's go ahead and open up with an attack right there. And what do I want to do here? I think it's not a bad idea to heal her. We are kind of on our own MP right now, though. Ah, the priestess, or the priest, has been gushed. Alright, well, the armor is still stacking up, but we should be able to finish it off right here, just due to the fact that the damage is kind of predictable. Apparently, we only did 8 damage right there, which is kind of odd. Why did that only do 8 damage? I feel like it should have done more, because he's got 15% damage increase right there. And then I think his attack said that it does 12. So I felt like that should have killed right there, but we'll just finish it off with a default attack. The default attacks from some of the characters, they sound kind of like a slap fight. They don't have that great of a sound effect. And so anyways, that could be punched up a little bit as well. We got Holy Healing. This is an item. You can embed this. So basically you find soul stones while you're cruising around the dungeon. You can take these and you can embed them into characters to give them new abilities. So you're not locked to the 2 abilities that you start out with. You can get more abilities via the embedding system, but we're just not there yet. We also get a reward here. It looks like we can get a participating characters get 5 HP back, 20% more souls. I think I'm going to go for the free healy wheelies right there because we're pretty scuffed up. And now we get to pick a relic. So we've got the Quill. 15 penetrating damage to all enemies every 5 normal attacks. That's not bad. 15 damage is a lot of damage. We've got the Dark Armor at the beginning of the turn. Gain 2 armor. That's pretty good. I'll probably take that because if nothing else, that'll give us a little bit of mitigation to play around with. And when you slay the boss, you get a little bit of HP back and you get a little bit of MP back. I don't think it's enough normally to top you off. Yeah, I was going to say, but it is something. Taking a look at the dungeon for right now, it looks like we've got an attack stone over there. We've got a buff right there. We've got a stone over there. Let's maybe scout a little bit and just sort of see what we come across. Oh, it's a shop. Okay, do you wish to trade right now? I suppose we can. I think he's going to be the only one that can trade in here, though, right? Let's find out. Oh, no, anybody can trade inside of here. Sounds like a plan. We've got that Holy Healing Stone that we can put on someone. Logic would dictate that maybe putting it on the priest would be the best idea, but putting it on someone else would allow us to get 2 heals in on a turn since we're limited to 1 action. I may just have her learn it. That way we've got multiple healers banging around. Sounds all right to me. Inside the shop, we can buy relics. We can buy more of those skill stones, just like the one that we just slotted in. And this is where we can assemble class relics, which are like the wild and crazy stuff that make you much, much stronger for assembling 25 of the relic fragments. And so anyways, we can also sell stuff if you got extra things inside of here. We do not right now. I do think that these menus are pretty nice. I do like that it zooms in on the merchant when you go on in here. That looks good to me. And with 2 AP left, there's a fight over there. I don't know what this stone does right here. It looks like it raises our magic attack. Okay. And so we can offer HP as a tribute. There's a chance to upgrade this altar's level. Only 1 person can offer tribute. Okay. Yeah, I'll move down to here. And then we'll have her attack from right there. Let's go ahead and take the fight. It would be cool if there was different configurations that gave you some kind of like, oh, I don't know, you could call it like a doctrine or something like that, where if you had a 3x3 grid of dungeon rooms, if you have everybody involved and they are in a certain configuration geometrically, like 1 to the left, 1 above, and like 1 to the bottom right, like the diagonal right, like you would get like some kind of bonus or something like that, and it would have like a little pop-up at the beginning. I'm just like thinking about options here to add a little bit of depth to the game so that it becomes something more than just like a JRPG brawler. But anyways, let's go ahead and we're opening up on these guys. We've got those free abilities right here at the beginning. And so I see no reason not to go hard in the paint and just light one off. We did not fish out the crit right there, which is unfortunate, which means that attack is going to put a little bit of poison on us. We can only do 7 damage right there, so we might as well open with a sudden slash just to kill off one of the goblins real quick. And then for you over here, cast Blessing on yourself, because you have Holy Mark now, which means at the beginning of your turn, you should heal the person with the lowest HP for 4, I would think. All right, let's go ahead and we'll open up with an attack right there. And then we'll probably just go with default attacks for right now and whittle this guy down. Yeah, there's the ability right there. That's not bad. Who did it heal for 4? Did it heal her? I wasn't looking at her HP. He was at 37 previously, wasn't he? I don't know. Go ahead and crack it on off there, my friend. A little bit more armor up. Continue firing away with default attacks. Oh, I think the priest is healing himself because of the poison effect. I think is what's happening right there. We can call down a holy light, which would be kind of cool. I don't know if it costs you MP when you burst attack. Let's find out. So she, whatever, was at like 13 right there. We'll check and see where they were at after we get done here. Let's see. Regain 5 HP for everybody. 20% extra souls. Everybody gets MP back. Let's call it the 5 HP. That's fine. Still at 13. Yeah, so if you use a burst attack, it looks like it doesn't cost you MP. I like that very much. That's good. This raises magic attack right here, so we'll go ahead and... Did it work? Okay, so I get the feeling we're striking out here. Just go ahead and use the altar. I've given up like half my HP prior to anything else working here. So you go up to there. You move over to here. And I think that should be the turn. I think. Well, mostly. Let's just go ahead and skip turn. And skip turn. There we go. I was looking for the skip turn option. I knew it was probably going to be in there somewhere. We'll get the big, hefty guy out first. We're going to need everybody in this room together before this is going to work for us. And then we'll collective move. Well, hold on. How come everybody didn't collective move? Oh, I guess only one person can move into a room where the attack is taking place or something. We've also got a big section of dungeon up there. Let's crunch this woof real fast, and I'll have the samurai scout down this way, and we'll send everybody else up the top way. I'm assuming that the groups move individually, largely due to the fact that the dungeons are going to get really, really big, and you're going to have to kind of split up. Let's go ahead and we'll go charge shot over here, hope for a crit. We got the crit, so the woof is dead. I should have shot that one so that I would get an extra turn. Ripperoonies. I feel very, very sad for myself. For right now, I would like to get a heal up and running because it's free, and I like free things. Nothing bad ever happens for free. Actually, since she's got that nuke heal, we could cast that for free on the first turn, too. That might be kind of nice. There's another relic fragment, a little bit more cash. How's the HP looking right now? HP's looking okay, but like $5 is not really something that I get like really, really husky about. So, oh, the boss is down there. Good to know. We've got a campfire up here. The campfire allows us to rest and basically get everybody together. And the campfire also allows you to gather your party. And so anyways, if I do rest together, it's going to pull everybody over here in like a teleport motion and skip the turn. But I just wanted to show it off. Like one person can rest, or you can pull everybody here from like the depths of the dungeon. What is this right here? In the intertwining dungeon, you manage to find a decrepit room filled with putrid stench. As you approach, you notice that the dark room is laced with countless cages stacked together like bricks. Suddenly, an outstretched hand grabs your attention. It's a feeble and filthy hand that shudders as it beckons you to come closer. You approach apprehensively as the coarse sound of a woman speaks from inside the cage. Are you an adventurer? Stop, don't come any closer. I don't want to be seen like this. Stay where you are and tell me, do you crave power? She speaks to you in a sickly voice. You approach further. Don't come any closer, and throws something sharp in your direction and retreats into the darkness of her cage, covering herself with a ragged piece of cloth. The projectile stings as it cuts a swath across your skin. You walk towards the edge of the cage and pick up the sharp object. As you turn around to leave, the reflection of the mutilated face of a young woman grazed the puddle of blood in the floor. You leave the room. We got a knife, the blunted blade. Everyone gets 2 HP at the start of fights. Nice. I doubt there's going to be anything in those 2 rooms right there. So we'll just, like, collectively chug on out of here, I think. We'll have everybody kind of skip their turn. Assemble the collective. Boop, 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 boop. We're going to kind of need everybody to be, like, near each other for when the fight kicks off with the boss, so like I'm not gonna worry too much about letting one party member outrun another. And that turn right there was just me spamming the 2 key like an idiot and wasting my time. There we go. We'll go down to the bottom. And do you want to start a boss battle? Sure. Let's go ahead and start a boss battle. As far as I can tell, the background doesn't change too much in between fights. Ow, 6 damage, you turd. All right, let's go. Let's go for a crit on somebody. We only got the 9 right there, unfortunately, so we didn't get a crit, but gain 3 plus 100% armor and consume all armor to deal 2 times 4 damage to a single target. Gain 50% of the lost armor while attacking. I'm kind of confused about the mechanics of how that works. I kind of want to fire it off and see. Okay. I'm still not super sure on what just took place right there in terms of, like, arithmetic, but something happened. We're going to go ahead and cast a blessing on her. Let's keep her nice and up and squared away. And now we're back on our own MP. Feels bad. Nobody likes to spend their own currency. Let's see here. We can probably take out a guy right there, which would probably be a good idea, just to get 1 mage off the field. We do have a burst point, so I can do 19 damage to somebody. Let's just call it sudden strike right there. Very nice. That worked out okay. Now he's going to do something, so he pulled off a mana void, but we negated it entirely with the free shield that we're getting from our relic, which is nice. Let's let the priest have some fun right there. We'll blast that guy to death real quick and drop him. Okay, so with 6 damage out, you go ahead and do a holy healing on him. And then over here, we will consider the efficacy of throwing out a sudden slash. There it is. Beautiful. With you, just do like a normal attack. I don't think we have to get too wild and crazy over here in order to make things happen. I'm not exactly sure how the turn order is calculated, whether there's some kind of dice roll that determines initiative. I can't really speak to that. I also haven't been watching to see if the turn order is the same every time. I think our party's been attacking in the same order every time, but it's sort of hard to say. So I'm guessing everybody in the game has kind of like an embedded attack speed that allows them to determine where they go in the overall turn order. There's 74 more bucks, 4 more fragments, and we get a reward. Let's call it... We'll just take the HP. Now we get a new relic. So we can get the silver ring. Your follow-up attacks become penetrated. So that means that your follow-up attacks, so your characters can get multi-attack, so like your auto-attack or whatever can trigger more attacks. That makes it so your follow-up triggered attacks, if you have that particular effect, they penetrate through the enemy's armor. They ignore it entirely, which could be pretty good. Reduce damage taken by 2 when you have 6 or more armor. Enemies affected by vulnerable. We don't really have any of that. What else you got? And we've got the Iron Sand, deal 2 damage to a random enemy every time your characters gain armor. Yeah, that stacks with the thing that gives us 2 armor. So that's 6 free damage going out every single turn when all 3 of my characters get +2 armor. And so that's what I mean. There are synergies here that exist. But really, I think the game is simplistic right now. It's basically like if you've played anything like Breath of Fire on the Super Nintendo, or you've played anything like, you know, Final Fantasy 1, 2, or 3, the combat is fairly simple at the moment until you get further on in and you start embedding more abilities and getting more relics that have more things kind of overlapping one another. And so that simplicity right there, I think, is the thing I want people to be aware of. That should be the takeaway from the video, is that it feels like there's a component missing from the overall, like, idea of movement in this game. Like, it feels like there's supposed to be another mechanic that ties into that hasn't been added in this current early access. And then from there, it's a fairly simplistic game. Like, it just kind of is. Then again, like, Darkest Dungeon kind of has simplistic combat if you really think about it. But there are, like, pushes and things of that nature. I do kind of wish that this game had sort of like a positional factor to the combat where you move people around on a grid to, like, dodge attacks or to, like, make sure only people in the front can be hit before people in the back. Like, it definitely feels like it could use another layer of depth for the movement scheme. But I get the feeling that's coming because, like, the movement scheme seems really out of place as it's currently implemented. So I'm guessing there's going to be some other mechanic that goes into the movement. But in the combat, it feels like it could use another layer of depth too, just to get it there. But aside from that, really great spell effects. The game looks utterly fantastic when you're firing off spells and whatnot, and very, very good relic design, in my opinion, where even in the earlier parts of the dungeon, you can see synergies in between various relics, and you can see synergies in between various abilities that characters have. And so this is one of those ones that I'd probably say keep an eye on. As of right now, for $12, it's a fairly simplistic dungeon crawler that has very, very few frills. But later on down the line, once those things get fleshed on out, it may be something worth taking a look at. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, we were messing around with Siege of Dungeon. Tomorrow, we will be messing around with something else. Thank you for spending your limited free time with me. I will catch you all tomorrow with something hot and fresh off the indie skillet, but up until then, it's time for me to go. Bye, folks.